Hello guys, welcome to MJ Real Stories channel. Today I'm going to tell you one of the most emotional and heartbreaking stories ever connected to the life of Michael Jackson. It's about a letter. A simple, handwritten letter found inside Michael Jackson's home after he passed away. One that left the entire world in tears. What was written inside that letter? Why did it shake millions of people to the core? And what does it reveal about the man behind the legend, behind the music, behind the mystery? Stay with me as we dive deep into this emotional, powerful, and unforgettable story. When Michael Jackson left this world in 2009, his home, Neverland, and the places he stayed became a treasure chest of memories. People found costumes, unreleased music, handwritten poems, and notes he wrote to himself. But among all those things, there was one letter no one expected to find. It was discovered tucked inside a book that Michael kept close to him, a book he often read during his quietest moments. The letter was folded neatly, as if he had placed it there with care, like a secret he couldn't say out loud but needed to write somewhere, somehow. The moment the person unfolding the letter saw the first line, they felt their hearts sink. It read, "If you are reading this, it means my silence has spoken louder than my voice ever could." Those words alone were enough to make anyone pause. It was the start of a message that revealed a side of Michael the world rarely saw, a side full of vulnerability, longing, pain, and love, a side hidden beneath decades of fame, controversy, and constant misunderstanding. Michael began the letter by talking about his childhood, something he carried like a wound that never healed. He wrote about the pressure of growing up in the industry, how from the age when most children learn to ride bicycles, he was learning to perform at a level that adults twice his age struggled to match. He wrote, "I was taught to be perfect before I was taught to be happy." These words cut deep because they captured the tragedy of a boy who became a global sensation, but never had the chance to simply be a child. He went on to describe moments when he would watch other kids play outside from the windows of recording studios or rehearsal rooms. He said he would hear their laughter drifting through the air while he practiced dance moves until his feet hurt. Sometimes, he wrote, "I envied the freedom of boys who could fall, scrape their knees, cry, and be held. I didn't have time to fall. I didn't have permission to cry." These were the kinds of truths the world never knew because Michael always smiled, always performed, always gave everything he had. But behind the scenes, that smiling boy was carrying silent pains he shared with almost no one. As the letter continued, Michael shifted to talk about fame. The type of fame so big, so consuming, that it doesn't just follow you, it swallows you. He wrote about standing on stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people and still feeling alone. He wrote about how the screams of fans were beautiful but also haunting. They loved the star, he said, but very few ever tried to understand the man. It was a heartbreaking confession because it showed that even someone adored by the whole world could still feel isolated in ways most people will never understand. He explained how everywhere he went, people wanted something from him. Autographs, pictures, money, attention. Rarely did someone ask how he was doing, how he was feeling, or what he needed as a human being. He wrote about longing for just one day of normal life, one day where he could walk into a store, buy something small, talk to a stranger, and not have the world turn upside down. "I wanted a day without cameras, without lies, without judgment, a day where I could be Michael, not the king of pop." But the part of the letter that left the world in tears was when he wrote about kindness, his deepest wish for humanity. Michael wrote that all the pain he experienced, all the misunderstandings, all the betrayals, never took away his desire to help others. He wrote about visiting sick children, donating millions silently, feeding families anonymously, and giving more than people ever knew. He said he never did those things for praise or attention. "I did it," he wrote, "because love is the only language my heart truly speaks. He wrote about the cruelty he endured from the media and from those who misunderstood him. He said there were moments when the lies became so loud that he questioned his ability to keep going. But then he wrote something shocking, something unbelievably emotional. Even in my darkest nights, I chose to believe in people. I chose love even when they didn't choose me. These lines made readers cry because they showed a man who had every reason to be bitter, but instead chose forgiveness. Michael didn't hide his sadness. He admitted that fame often felt like a cage, that the world built him into an icon, but forgot that he still had a beating heart with fragile emotions. He wrote that sometimes he would sit alone in his room for hours, listening to music just to calm his mind. He said he longed for simple joys, like taking a walk in a park or watching the sunset without being followed. I wanted to live, he wrote, not just perform. In one of the most heartbreaking paragraphs, Michael talked about the rumors and accusations he faced. He said the lies felt like daggers, each one cutting deeper than the last. He wrote, "They judged me without knowing my soul. They punished me for my kindness. They tried to turn my love into something dark." And then he added, "But I forgive them. Hurt people hurt others, and maybe the world was hurting too." Those words showed a level of compassion so rare, so pure, that it moved even his harshest critics to silence. Michael then wrote about his fans, the people who gave him strength when he felt broken. He said he read their letters late at night and found comfort in their words. He wrote, "When the world tried to break me, your love held me together." He also apologized for withdrawing sometimes, saying it was never because he didn't care, but because he needed space to heal. "Every time I disappeared, I was searching for myself." The most tear-jerking part of the letter was when he wrote about his children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket. He said they were the greatest gifts he had ever received. He wrote about watching them grow, hearing their laughter, feeling their tiny hands in his. "They are the pieces of my heart living outside my body," he said. "Every dream I had for the world I see in them." He wrote that he hoped they would grow in kindness, away from the harshness he endured. He prayed they would feel loved, protected, and free. As the letter neared its end, Michael wrote about his fear of being forgotten, not as a superstar, but as a human being. He wrote that he didn't care if people remembered the records, the tours, or the awards. What he truly cared about was whether people remembered his intentions. He wrote, "If they remember anything about me, I hope it is that I tried. I tried to love. I tried to heal. I tried to give more than I received." Then came the final lines of the letter, the lines that brought readers to tears across the world. He wrote, "If I leave this world before my dreams are fulfilled, please carry them for me. Love the children, care for the lonely, protect the misunderstood, and when you listen to my music, remember it came from a heart that wished only to bring light into the darkness." Those final words felt like a farewell written by a man who knew his time might be shorter than the world expected. It was a farewell filled with love, hope, forgiveness, and longing. When the letter became public, millions cried, not because Michael Jackson was gone, but because for the first time they felt they truly understood the human being behind the legend. This letter is more than paper and ink. It is Michael Jackson's soul poured into words. It is a reminder that the brightest stars often carry the heaviest shadows, and it teaches us that behind every icon, every celebrity, every legend, there is a human being longing for love, understanding, and peace. Thank you guys for listening. This was one of the most emotional stories ever connected to Michael Jackson. Make sure to like the video, share it, and subscribe to MJ Real Stories channel for more emotional and powerful stories about the King of Pop.